Hi guys, welcome back Alley Cats. And if you're not an Alley Cat, subscribe, become one. Join the kitty litter. It's not as gross as it sounds. Like this video, share it with your friends and family so that they can become Alley Cats too. And let's just get straight into this video. So this is on contouring. I'm going to be showing you the basics of contouring and blush placement. I will only be covering powder today. I think I'll do a separate video on creams if you guys are interested in that. The product I'm going to be using in this video is from Phase Zero. It is the blush and bronzer trio that I'm using. You can see the rest of my face has been done. Eye makeup, eyebrows, lips, all that. Just not contouring. So I kind of look like a potato. And this potato needs to be like snatched, okay? So the best powders to choose. I just like to do a powder test with my fingers. Now you can't do this with everything, obviously, especially right now in store. You can't use testers, so it makes life difficult when choosing new makeup. A good test for powders to see if it's going to be blendable is to just touch it. That's my favorite way of doing it. And this powder right here is super smooth. You can see that this is a light color. I'm very light myself. So especially right now, I'm fading into my winter sadness, but also just paleness. And so this shade's gonna be perfect for me. Blend it on your finger and then see how it blends out. So a finger test is really good with that, even with eyeshadows, any type of powders, honestly. Okay, so let's cover brushes to use. Brushes that you use will depend on the product, and we're talking about powders, so I'm going to cover only brushes for powders. But also, it depends on the look you're going for, the placement you want, how precise you want your contour to be. If you want it to be extremely soft and blended, you're going to need a fuller brush. I would recommend this Sephora brush. This is a Pro Featherweight Complexion brush, number 90. You can see this ferrule, like I've had this brush for a moment. I don't know if I bit on it. Did my cats bite this? I don't think I bit it. Maybe. But it is messed up. I don't know what that's from. This is a much fluffier brush. You can still get a little precision from it because you can see how it comes out and then it goes in. The bristles taper slightly, but they're still long bristles. They're long. So what that means is you're going to have more movement with the brush, and therefore it's not going to be as precise. It's going to be a little more feathery, featherweight brush. And if you were to go any bigger, then I would say it's more for bronzing. Like this brush here, you can see how long this dude is and that it doesn't taper in at all. It only goes outwards. I'm gonna make a whole video on brushes and their uses and why and all that soon. Then there are brushes like this NARS Kabuki brush. This is much different. You're going to cover a wider area at a time, but you can see it's very thin and you can actually be very precise with your application. You can really chisel out your cheekbone this way. This is one of my favorite contour brushes to use. I'll use two different brushes and let you see what their effects are on my face. But this has medium length bristles, not very long. You can see that these bristles are still longer. It's flat completely at the top, but there's a lot of movement. Or there's actually this brush, and it's from Luna Magic, has no other name, so I don't know. It has an angle to it, and you can see it's pinched at the bottom, and then it flares out toward the top, gets a little wider. Bristle length is almost as long as this. This is still longer, so it's still going to be a little wider of an application. This, you can see, has so much movement in it, and you can be precise with your placement, but it also blend beautifully. So I'm going to start with the Featherweight Complexion brush from Sephora, the biggest dude here. And I'm just going to go straight into the contour. I like to pick it up all along the tip and then tap that off. Now with your contour placement, what you want from this is to make your cheekbones appear more hollow, lifted, higher. Those are usually the goals, right? So a lot of people will do this. And if I were to contour where I see it sunken in, that would be here. It really sinks in here and then doesn't do much back here, to be honest. But if I followed that in a straight line, that would make my cheeks look really low. Like really low, sunken down, like saggy. We don't want to be saggy, okay? No, we don't want that. I don't want that. Instead, what you're going to want to do is just figure out where your bones are. Just feel along your face. So right here, I can feel that it's a little more hollow. Sorry, I'm looking at myself in the monitor. And then right here, there's my bone. My bone is right there. I feel it going all along here. And now as I feel it, the bone's still there, but the highest point is right here. Now it starts to go away, and then now it's gone. So what you're gonna wanna do is once you find your bone, but right on top of the bone still, but just slightly lower. That's where I like to place my contour. And you always wanna start at the very back of your face as well, because wherever you touch your brush down first is going to have the most product, no matter what. So if you were to start here, your most product is going to be right here, and it's going to be much harder to blend and make that look natural. I'm going to start with the very tip of the brush too. So I'm placing it on its side, but more toward the actual tip of the brush, because the tip of the brush is more tapered and will offer me a little more precision with my placement. Now it's touched down. What I want to do is sweep this. I like to do a sweeping motion back and forth and keep it nice and high. So you can see when I'm coming down, I'm only coming down to about there. I'm not going anywhere near my eye, actually. I'm further away from my eye. So I don't want to come all the way here every single time. We're going to get there. Don't worry. But I'm stopping about here for now. And why is I want the most product and the deepest color to be further back. And now that there's less on my brush, I can feather it forward. And now this feathering motion is helping blend it so it doesn't just end in this spot over here. You don't want it to just end. You want it to blend into the rest of your face, right? You can see that there's a natural shadow right here compared to this side. Now that's very soft, and again, it's very soft because I used a large brush here. Let's sharpen it up. So I'm going to use a different brush on this same side and sharpen it up. So I'm going to go in with that Luna Magic brush. Now this is the one that you can be really precise with. You can even see the shape. It's small, but the bristles do have a lot of movement, so it's still going to blend beautifully. And I'm starting way at the back and feathering forward. Now with this, you can see I'm not doing a sweep back and forth motion, and it's because of the shape of the brush. It's angled. So because of that, I don't want to do a motion that sweeps back and forth, because when you go forth, you don't get the base anymore. You get the back of the bristles. So for this kind of brush, you can't do that motion. And again, stopping right out here. And now there's less product on the brush, so I can go a little more forward. You can see that now it's much more precise. You can really see that line. In fact, I would want to blend that a little more, but I do prefer a more natural contour too. I don't prefer the cut contour. Personally, I just don't prefer it. But you can see, like, even smiling, you can see that it's much more cut here than over here with my full potato face over there. Nothing wrong with a potato. You know, I love potatoes in all forms. But I really like a snatched potato, I guess. Some people like mashed potatoes. I like snatched potatoes. Sorry, I'm so stupid. Kind of clever, though. Can that be my tagline? So you can see from the side here, that is pretty snatched, okay? And if you did want to do any backward motion, backward blending, and not just the forward, you would switch your brush around. So you see how it's pointing this way? You would then flip it, and now you can blend backwards. Now I would only do this if you have no product on your brush now. And I'm honestly loving that. I think it looks so good, so natural. That is a combination of these two brushes. Let's only do the NARS brush on the other side. Now this will allow for a more chiseled look right off the bat. So we're going straight in with this. tapping it into the product, tapping off the excess, find your bone, go all the way back. Same motion with this. So I don't go back and forth. I only do a feathered motion forward. Hopefully you can tell that it's more precise right off the bat. You can see that more product is covering my face over here and less product is covering it over here. And it's more of a precise line. I'm gonna add a little more because I really want you guys to be able to see this. With this brush even, I will do a tapping motion. I'm almost doing the motion you do with your beauty blender, that pop, 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 pop. Pop, 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 pop. I like to do that where I want it to look deeper and more chiseled because more product is being placed in one spot with that like tap, 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 tap motion. Look how much product is there now. A lot of product just went there. Now I can do the feathering motion again and just bring the rest forward. So you can kind of look at both sides of your face and then make the decision yourself on what looks best on your face shape. Every face shape is going to be different. Every person is different. So right now I'd be able to be like, all right, do I like this side that's covering more? Or do I like this side that's covering less for my face shape? For right now, I personally like this side a little more. So what I'm going to do now, with the same brush, I'm going to blend this side out and make it match this side. So there's nothing left on the brush over here. What I'm going to do is this tiny downward motion. And it's just because I need this to go down a little further. That's the only reason I would ever drag down, is because I'm trying to match it to this side. And you can see I'm taking a step back. I'm looking at a monitor instead of a mirror, but I'm taking a step back and seeing, okay, is it starting to look like the other side? I can do an upward motion as well to blend out this part. You can see it's starting to look like the other side, right? You can see still this side is not as precise as this side. And actually now, great. I'm starting to prefer this side. Ignore everything else I just said. So that's placement for your cheeks. Now, of course, there are many areas to contour in the face. So let's move on to another area, okay? I'm going to use the same brushes on the same sides. So, oh no, I made the sides look too similar. Hold on. No, I did this side. Wait. Yes, okay. So now contouring your jawline, it depends on the goal. What is your goal? Is your goal to make your face look slimmer and your jawline look smaller? Or is your goal to make your jawline look chiseled and bigger and wider? That makes a massive difference in your technique and your brushes, everything. Now, for me personally, I prefer a look where my face tapers down and gets smaller as it goes down. So I want my jaw to look smaller on the outside here. On this side, I'll use this brush, same product, tap off the excess. I'm starting at the very back of my jaw, right back here. And I'm starting at the very base of the jaw as well. And now I'm going to move forward. And I want to look forward in the mirror though, because I need to see what it's actually doing to me. I need to know what I'm getting from it. So I want my face to taper in. So I'm doing this motion because you can see almost with the brush, that's what I want my face to look like. The part that I'm hiding here is what I want to go away. That's what I want to look smaller. And again, with this brush, I can do a back and forth motion. So that's what I'm doing. And now for blending purposes, I'm going to take that and blend it down my neck as well. So right at the back of my jaw and forward to my chin. I really hope you guys can see at this angle what I'm doing. So now that I have it blended up underneath my chin, which by the way is, a great way to hide a double chin too. So that's, a little bonus right there. So the least amount of product is on the underside of my chin. The most amount of product is all the way back. Underneath my ear actually is where I start. And then blending it forward. I don't know if you can see a difference. Hold on. I need a little more product. For video purposes, I'm going to go a little heavier. So I'm gonna add a little more product, and again, looking forward to see what that looks like. So I did it with this brush. I hope you can actually see it and see the difference. I hope you can. Now on this side, I'm gonna do the NARS brush. Now, depending on how you hold the brush, you're gonna get a different effect here. If I wanna cover a wider area, I'm gonna hold it vertically. If I want to have that chiseled effect like I had on my cheeks, I'm gonna hold it horizontally. So for this area, I actually don't want a super precise line. I want it to be a little wider. So I'm going to hold it vertically. And again, back at my jawline. And bring it forward again. And have your face forward so you can see straight. With the underneath part of my chin, again, if I want to cover a wider area, I'm going to keep holding it vertically. If I want it to be more cut, I'm going to hold it horizontally. But I want it to be a wider area, cover more ground here, and a little less precise, so I'm holding it vertically. And starting back at the ear and moving it forward. So hopefully you can see what that looks like side to side. So for nose contouring, as far as brushes go, because I'm going to stick with the same product here, same shade. It's a very light shade. It's very forgiving. I'm going to stick with that, but maybe if your contour shade is dark, like you're going much deeper than your skin tone, you might want to go for a lighter shade on your nose. The nose tells all. It will show all. It will show your mistakes. It fears no God. So you have a few options as far as brushes go for your nose. So 2 options. Here is a Luna Magic brush, again with no name. No name. I don't know. This doesn't help you at all. But this brush here is, I would say, technically a shadow brush. It's kind of a flat paddle shape. So it's flat, but then it starts to round at the top. So what I would like to do with this brush is pick up the product directly on the tip here, place it on your nose that way with tip down, and then blend it with it more on its edge or on the side. Or you have this option here, which is a Luxie mini flat angled brush. This brush, I hope you guys can see the detail in this brush. There is an angle to it. One side of the bristles are shorter and one side are longer. So there's an angle. It's dense. The bristles are short. It is dense. So it's more dense than this brush here. So it's going to give you slightly different effects. So I'm going to use one on each side here. I'm going to start out with this brush, the Luna Magic brush, and I'm going to pick it up right on the tip, like I said. You have to assess your own face and what you want from your contour. So what I would want is to make my tip of my nose less round looking. I have a very round tip and a long tip. The tip goes down here. And I don't quite appreciate that about my nose. So I would like to shorten this just a little and then angle it so that it's not so round at the tip. And then, yes, make my bridge a little thinner in the center. And my nose is crooked. You can see that my nostril over here is shorter and my nostril over here is longer. So you can see that my nose is angling. It's angling like this way. So I do take that into consideration when I'm contouring it. What I like to do is have the most product at my tip because that's where I'm contouring the most. That's where I really am changing the shape of it, okay? Placing it at an angle. I'm starting at an angle here because I'm angling my nose. So I'm going to only try and contour one side here, but I'm angling it down and cutting it all the way down because I want to shorten that tip. But I'm doing it at an angle because I'm trying to cut off the roundness of my tip. But you can actually see that it looks less round already. Blend that all the way down. And I'm still angling, so I'm going even higher now. High up on my nose, but I'm angling it down. Now to contour the side, I'm picking up product again, making sure it's a lighter amount of product this time. And you can feel your bone again. Just feel along your bone. Now, what you want to do with this is you definitely want to keep the center bare here. You don't want to go all the way into the center of your nose. You want to keep that center light. I highlighted first. That's a good tip to do actually, is do all your highlight first. You can see all the high points of your face this way. And you'll kind of naturally see where your shadows are. So I have the highlight. I have where I'm not touching it. I'm not going to touch this highlight area. So I'm going to go right beside it, right on the bone. And I'm doing this very light motion using only the side brush. And I'm connecting it down to the tip. And then as less product is on my brush, I can start going up all the way up to my brow, just with very little product on the brush. So you can almost see that my nose looks a little straighter now too. I don't know if you can tell, but let's go with the other brush now. So this is the Luxie brush. I'm picking the products still straight on the very base of the brush and doing the same thing with this. So I'm starting right at the tip there and angling it down. I'm almost going to create a diamond shape on my tip. That's going to end up slimming the tip of my nose. You can see my nose tip looks much less round now. And now with this brush, instead of using the very side like I did on this one, I'm going to turn it so that the angle is toward the tip now. I'm going to pick up product on the very tip of it. So like the longest part of the bristle, the highest part, is now face down onto my nose. I'm going to take that right on the bone, same placement, and then right down and connect it to the tip. So what I'm going to do is create a bit of a dip in my nose because I don't like it. I don't like this line to continue in a straight line all the way down. I like there to be a slight separation, but I don't want to create too much of a button nose because I already have one. So what I'm going to do is go on the highest point of my nose, right here, and that's where I'm going to place a line horizontally. So right there. And that's going to help also shorten this rounded tip again. So my nose looks thinner and my tip looks less round. Okay, now earlier I know I said that this was going to be blush too, but I lied. Okay, I'm very sorry for lying. I thought I was telling the truth at the time, but this took a little longer than I thought. And I want to make sure that I don't just brush over blush. I think it's important. So I'm going to make a whole other video on blush, okay? So I can really not gloss over it and I can really go into detail with it. So blush is another video. So that's going to be the end of this video. And I really hope that you guys liked all these tips. I hope that they helped so much. I really hope that these basic videos help. Please let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover that I haven't covered yet. I do have a lot of videos in mind still, but please let me know in the comments what types of videos you're looking to see from me. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed and become an alley cat. Alley cat. And like this video, share it with your friends and family so that they can become alley cats too. And I hope you have an amazing day. And I love you. Bye!